I haven't made a video in a little while. Because I've still been doing MCAT stuff. I am now studying for my fourth attempt, and I tried to take a boot camp where it's like 5 weeks of intensive follow along with the classes type of thing. I found it helpful. I'm seeing my practice test scores go up, which is great. I haven't made a video in a minute because I am in my parents' spot rather than the apartment I'm usually staying in. And something about doing anything besides getting a job or like something really normative, I guess. If I do anything outside of just like a very narrow set of things, then it ends up being an issue, and I have to talk about why do I have to go and do this thing that's unnecessary, etc., etc., etc. But one thing I'm finding for the MCAT that's like not one thing I'm finding for the MCAT that isn't really reflected in school is that in school I could like pattern match my way through a semester, like through an entire class, or I can BS something. MCAT has like no room for any of that. It's just, you gotta know. And not only do you gotta know, you gotta understand, and you gotta apply, and you have to be vigilant for 7.5 hours for the duration of the test on if a question has like a specific little phrasing that could kind of change what it's saying. And they know that if you rush through reading it, what you might think it's saying, and then they'll put an answer choice for how you might misinterpret it so that you can choose the wrong one, which is so sneaky. But I've found that I have some sort of like fairness condition where there are some people that can just kind of, some people it just clicks for them. You know, they just do a bunch of practice questions and they have an understanding of how to, you know, what mistakes were made. They just blast through some flashcards, do a bunch of practice problems, teach their subconscious, and then vibe through the thing, and they get like a freaking 515 plus. I found that they do the work is the thing. I guess I'm trying to like create a distinction between me and other people, but like the point is they put in the work and they get a high score, and I'm finding that if I slack a little bit, it is reflected. If I work a little bit, it is reflected. It is such a straight 1-to-1. At least that's how it feels to me. It doesn't matter what the testing conditions are. Last time I took a practice test, I was at a community college, and two very loud people, some dude and his tutor, came right next to me and were like, oh, I guess this is what we're going to do. And then I realized the place was closing like 30 minutes earlier than my practice test was going to end. And still, it was all about how much work I did that day. So now I'm sitting here convinced that I can do a lot, that I could get like a 525 if I do the work, which is great news for people who do the work. I'm finding myself feeling like I have some sort of like unique problem where I can't find focus, and you know, I just can't get through to doing work that I need to do. Like I can't just sit down and look at it. It's very, I don't even want to say it's hard, but like, because it's not difficult, but my brain is running away from it all the time. So And then, this will reflect on so many other things too. It'll reflect on like how people look at you when you're like, oh yeah, this MCAT thing, usually people study 3 months for it. And they're like, whoa, good luck, man. And then a year later, it's like, so how'd it go? And I'm like, no, I'm still studying for it because I keep on failing. Then it's embarrassing. And especially being non-traditional and like being a disappointment up until I started going to college or whatever. It's always this look of like they're the family will be like, oh, we believe in you, but there's also elements like I believe them when they're being supportive, uh, but there's also elements of like once a crackhead always a crackhead, you know what I mean? And it's like, damn dude, like I'm trying here. But also I don't even believe myself because when it comes down to like sitting down and doing the work and my brain is running away, and then I listen to it and don't do the work, or I put it off all day and then only get like a couple hours in when I could have gotten like a substantial amount of hours in. It makes me go like, well, shoot, dude, I am I trying? You know, I feel like I'm doing a lot of like mental work and I feel like I'm stressing myself out a lot, but I don't think I'm like trying. Um, because I don't know. I feel like my actions will reflect my effort or non-effort. Um, so I don't know, man. It's felt strange. Um, Another weird condition that I have, not like a condition, like a condition, is that it seems that for me, and I do think this is just like a personal thing, it seems like my mental clarity, my cognitive like processing speed, um, my emotional regulation, all of those have such a tight, direct correlation with my weight. Um, and I enter a very strong zone when I get below 73 kilograms. As soon as the scale says 72, solid. Right now, and then 75 is another milestone. It's not all the way there, but there's a huge change. Excuse me. But right now I'm at 77. Um, and I know that whatever emotional processing and like, oh God, I'm so frustrated. Why am I like this? What's wrong with me? For me, I'm fortunate enough to where I've seen it happen before. Like everything was garbage and I just focused on like losing weight. Um, and I found that I was able to just completely ignore all that other stuff, focus on the task at hand when I got like lower than 75. 74, 75, it was very easy to emotionally regulate. Under 73, it was automatic. Like I didn't even have to think about it. People would say a thing that would be like, hey, some bullshit. And I'd be like, wrong. Move on. Like I would just handle the problems, dude. It was so good. Um, and I'm more frustrated because I yo-yo so much and I really gotta hit the the goal of 69.0 kilograms. After that, I either maintain there or I start working out like strength training in order to gain weight. But I don't want to go below 69. It's not just a matter of dropping because under a certain level now it's like, does your body even have everything it needs to keep it going and all that stuff? You still want it to be maintainable, but it is now August 3rd. the semester starts on the 24th. So I have like 20 days of just focusing on sleeping properly, working out. Um, like there's like the health, the body health aspect, where it's sleep, working out, eating pretty okay, and then there is the mental aspect, which is studying, and then yeah, those two things. And so the thing for studying is going to be, now for the boot camp, it was you take a practice test every week. Um, and the hours is so long. And today I had a meeting with my tutor, and I really thought he was going to be like, oh, you got to make sure you get some rest in between and all that stuff. But rather than that, when I told him like, oh, every fourth day I'm going to take the practice test. So I take a practice test, study 3 days, try to grind it out, another practice test. He was like, okay, well, how do your study days look? And I was like, well, I wake up at 5. If I end at 5 p.m., even if I take breaks in between, I still get 8 to 10 hours of study. And he was like, that's pretty good. He was like, yeah, I like that. And I was like, damn. I really thought he was going to tell me to slow down or something, but he was like, no, that's great. You get a good amount of rest every evening. And then you get the practice test so that you get a good few. Because right now I'm not even registered for the MCAT. Because I've taken it 3 times, dude. I'm not going to spend another freaking $400 for nothing. So I was like, okay, let me wait until I get good scores on the practice test. But if I want to not graduate later, I need to get good scores like now. And yeah, I was, so okay, the scores right now have been closer to like 500. 500 is, because the MCAT is graded on like a curve kind of, the median score is set at 500, meaning the MCAT is graded in such a way where it's not about necessarily how well you do on a test, it's how much better than their, like where you land on the bell curve, how you compare to other test takers and stuff, the previous year's test takers or whatever. So I was landing closer to 500, closer to the median score. So my first test was 502, then I got 503, then I got 504. So pretty much the same. I get to boot camp, they're like, take a baseline practice test. I got 498. I hadn't been studying for a while or whatever it was, I got 498. I go through 2 weeks of boot camp, I get a 508. And I was like, this is great. I had a 10-point jump from my baseline, 4-point jump. I never scored this high on a practice test before. We're really showing promising signs of improvement. The boot camp was like 7 hours a day of classes. You do get a 1-hour break in between, and then another 10-minute break. So yeah, pretty much 6 hours of classes throughout the day. Bro, that took a lot out of me, and I'm not gonna lie, the last couple weeks I stopped being really engaged with the stuff. So for the boot camp timeline, 498, 508, and then the next week I took one, 506. I was like, okay, but still kind of in that upper level. And then I got a 502, and I was like, oh shit, now I'm back. It's like below. I was keeping it above 505, which my highest score before that was the score I got on my true attempt, 504. And then I hit 508, 506, and I was like, okay, nice. 502, I'm back below the like 505 line. I was like, damn. So then I took a practice test yesterday, and I got a 507. And I was like, okay, before it was 2 above, 2 below. Now it's majority above 505, so that's great. And I was like, okay, I just gotta sleep well, I gotta eat well, I gotta work out, I gotta do all this stuff. Dude, I was wired until like 4 o'clock in the morning. I woke up at 8:30, so I not only did I sleep late, I didn't get much sleep. and it's noon, and I'm supposed to be cutting off my study time at 5. Whatever, dude. I don't know, but I do need to make sure the rest of today goes all right and all that stuff. I'm like, I should have creative endeavors as well to like keep myself sane, I guess. So now I'm like, dude, I should make a little video, and freaking, I think it would be great to film a bunch of stuff for each like 3-day, for each 4-day period of like 3 days of grind and then a practice test. Or practice test and then 3 days of grinding it out. I think that would be cool. Maybe I'll start it from the next practice test, which today is the first grind day, then Tuesday, Wednesday, so then Thursday. Thursday would be my full length. So, we will see what's up. But that's what's going on right now. I just wanted to freaking upload something to feel like I have a thing that I like, that I do, because I've been like losing touch with my identity. I don't feel self-assured. I don't feel like I know who I am anymore, because it feels like I've been failing for a year or working in such a poor manner that I don't get any results that I want. Which isn't like the coolest, but we're here now. We're gonna make it happen this time. I actually saw a raise in my score that kind of approached my range. My range is, I'm aiming for like 510 plus, right? I think I can get a 525, but I don't need a 525 to get into med school. A 510 plus will give me like a competitive enough situation. Being a non-traditional student, I have a good enough like story and all that stuff. So, you know, that's what it is. But my highest score was only 1 point more than yesterday's score. So I'm within just a few points of being within range. So for the next one, the aim is to get 510 or more. So that's what we're looking for. Yeah. I'll find a way to upload more. All right. Be easy.